What's up and welcome back to Bardown Talking Hockey episode number 109 presented by the Barroom Network. My name is Vinny Parisi and I am thinking about where mama hides the Thin Mints top shelf. And this right here, this is Frankie Mueller and his Vegas Golden Knights are off to a pretty dang good start in the 2023 postseason. Frank, how you doing?
Doing good. Like the hockey that I've been seeing lately.
Yeah, me too. I mean, this first round has been
Thank you, Tom.
absolutely unbelievable. Thank you, Tom. Have a great podcast today, boys, he says. Have a great day to everybody. We're so happy to have everybody here. Frank, what a time. What a time.
It's a great month for sports overall.
I was just saying that. Like literally to Katie, like on the way back here. I was like, the boys are getting ready for a good weekend in every sport. In every sport. It's just like baseball starting to get like going. We're starting to see who's good, who stinks. Basketball's in the middle of the first round. It's been wonderful. Baseball or hockey's getting near the end of the first round. The NFL draft starts tomorrow. I mean, it is just a great, great time. And you know what, Frank? We're going to start off with a little bit of hawk because that's what we do here on this show about hawk in period number one. You remember Za Factory?
Oh yeah,
We went there, and it was.
I
Better
remember it, but why can't I think of like why we go there? When was it?
We went there for Sandwich Saturday.
I
Way
can't
back in
picture
the
the
day.
place, but I recognize the name.
Not everyone loved it when we went, but I liked it, and I liked it today. So screw what everyone else thought 4 years ago, or however long ago that was.
I don't like that. I don't remember where we were though.
It was. It's
Like I
on.
remember the place.
It's on 31. For those of you in Illinois watching, probably know where 31 is. It's a relatively large street in
Oh,
the Elgin area.
is that where we got like the Jets type of pizza? The
Yeah.
little-
Yep.
Oh, I know where it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
I liked it.
That's my drink for today.
Who
Is
didn't like it? I liked it.
I remember everyone crapping on it. I enjoyed it, but I like Detroit style. It reminds me of Sicilian style or grandma
There's
style.
not a lot of pizza I don't like. I don't care if it's square, circular, deep dish, double dough. It doesn't matter to me.
That's a fair point. Just pizza is pizza. Is that a blue Powerade?
It is a blue Powerade.
Oh, we got some people that watch this show that enjoy themselves some blue Powerade. There you go. Frank, you know when we don't like the color blue? When we're watching the series between the New Jersey Devils and the New York Rangers. Before I get into my stuff, what's your takeaway?
Wow. They forced a game 5 at an even series. Unbelievable. Neither home team has been able to win a game in this series. Which, if that's the case, it benefits the Rangers in the long run. But I think something's got to give eventually here. I mean, I had this series going 7. Right now, it looks like it's on pace to do so. But I think what the Devils need to do for game 5 is they need to go all out like it's a game 7. Because if you could win at home, the way you've been playing on the road all year, just makes it feel like if they snag this game 5, they solidify the series win in game 6. I still think the Rangers are going to prevail. But if they lose this series, or if they lose this game, I got Devils in 6. I don't think the Rangers would be able to win it on the road and force a game 7. Schmid's been amazing. I love the way he's been playing. Once again, something else I feel smart about that I thought he should have been in there earlier. I really do believe that if he starts game 2, that they win that game just because of how great he's been this year. I think they got to give the kid a little bit more credit than that. But, boy, we're in for one hell of a finish in this series, if I got to say.
Dun, 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 dun. Rangers suck. I will say this. I visit Evolving Hockey quite frequently. It's one of my favorite websites. Evolving Hockey is an advanced statistics page. I'm not an all advanced statistics guy. If I watch a game and Jack Hughes scores 3 goals, but the advanced metrics says he has a bad game, that's when I discredit advanced statistics. But there are times where they're good. They're a good tool. Through the first 4 games of the postseason, the New Jersey Devils are the number 1 advanced metric team in the postseason. The New York Rangers are the 16th dead last. That means the Devils, since game 2, have made incredible adjustments and have essentially dominated the Rangers. The final scores weren't dominated, and I believe that's because of Igor. Igor has been outstanding. He's the best goalie in the playoffs right now because Vasilevsky stinks. I think in the league, I think Vasilevsky and Igor are 1 and 2 regardless. In a normal year. But I don't know. The Devils, man, if they can win Game 5, I think they could take this.
See, the Devils were so outplayed in the first 2 games. They got outscored like
It was 10 to
10
2.
to 2. They gave up 10 goals, and with Schmid in that, he's held them to 1 goal each game. He's been phenomenal. I love the way he's been playing.
I love the way he's been playing too. And there's been rookie goalies in the playoffs. What's up, Skokes? Devils got a series here. You're absolutely right, pal. You're absolutely right. We've seen teams ride rookie goalies. The Canes did it with Cam Ward in 2006. The Pittsburgh Penguins did it with Matt Murray twice because he was considered a rookie in 2 separate playoffs. I mean, it was just these things happen. And Schmid has played outstanding. Vitek Vanacek had a great season. And you know what? I do think it has to do with the way the Devils have played in front of Schmid as well. Sometimes you play better in front of the Rook. You're less inclined to take risks in front of the Rook. One thing I've noticed when the Devils are playing the Rangers in game 1 and 2, so the Devils play like this, straight ahead. Everything is what is in front of me, where the Rangers are very much what is to my left and what is to my right. The Rangers play a horizontal hockey game and the Devils play a vertical hockey game. And that was evident all season long. And they're both very good at their own style of play. What the Devils were able to do in game 3 and 4 was shut down the horizontal game. They had a defenseman in the spot needed to be to prevent any Kane to Panarin pass, any Panarin to Zibanejad pass, anything that was a horizontal thing. That was something that the Devils were able to stop. And any chances the Rangers did get, Schmid looked outstanding. And in game 1 and 2, the Rangers were able to stop what the Devils are really, really good at, which is using the stretch pass to create on the rush. And in games 3 and 4, the Devils just converted on a couple of their chances where they made these stretch passes, like the breakaway goal by Jack Hughes in the most recent game. I believe it was Siegenthaler who floated the puck through the neutral zone, and it landed on the tape of Jack Hughes, and he came in on a breakaway and scored. The Siegenthaler goal, Nico Hischier made a great pass to Spring Siegenthaler, who did not miss his chance, and that served as the game-winning goal before Palat found the empty netter. I mean, it was a tale of two types of games, game 1 and 2 versus games 3 and 4. And I think right now the momentum's on the Devils side. And I know this is the thing that really annoys me. If the Devils went up 2-0 and then the Rangers tied the series, everyone would be like, "Oh, the Rangers and they got the momentum." But because the Devils did it, everyone's like, even though they had the third most points in the league and they were a point away from the second, there's no reason that this team can't win this series. There is just no reason. If they keep playing the way they've been playing, I have all the faith in the world in the Devils. I watched 82 of these damn things, and well, I guess we're up to 86 now. And I'm telling you what, if they play their game, there are a few teams in the league that can hold them down. Now the Rangers, they have Igor, and Igor masks a lot of problems, but the Rangers have not played well. Up through 4 games, they have not played well, and the Devils have. The Rangers were a little more opportunistic in game 1 and 2. Tarasenko was scoring goals. Kreider was scoring goals. Vanacek was bad in games 1 and 2, and that was the difference. You see what happens when the Devils play their game and find a way to beat Igor. It's going to be a low-scoring rest of the way. If they win the series and get to the Islanders or the Hurricanes, I think they could kill them in every game. Because there's no way that they have. I mean, Sorokin is capable of playing like Igor, but I think the Rangers are probably a better team in front of Igor than the Islanders are in front of Sorokin for the most part. But I don't know, man.
I think if the Devils get blown out in game 5, you stick with Schmid the rest of the way.
I agree.
Vanacek doesn't touch starting goalie for the rest of the series.
I agree. I'm with you on
You're,
that.
you're riding and dying with Schmid.
Yes. You've
You,
already
you,
played that card. The
yeah,
swing
you
card.
can't keep going back and forth. You
Yeah, no.
play, you ride the hot hand. Even if you get blown out 6-1, Schmid starts game 6 on the road.
100%. Now, if we're talking in round 2,
That's
you
a
can
different
start.
story.
It's a different story. It's a different mindset. It's a different game. It could be different reasons.
Hmm.
You know, I'm with you though, because I believe if they lose game 5, they can win game 6 and force game 7. I
Hmm.
believe that. I do believe that. I'm I'm in on this Devils team. It was a little shaky when they were down 0-2. It's hard to win. I mean, think about when you're down 0-2. When you're down 0-2, you have to win 4 of 5 to win the series. Well, 2 out of 4 down. 2 out of 4 down. And the boys are buzzing. Patrick Eliash is running into the room screaming, I effing love this team. Oh my God. I'm stunned. They've played so well the last 2 games. I have no reason to think they can't win game 3 and 4.
Yeah,
3 and 4. 5 and 6. What a dummy I am. They did win game 3 and 4.
yeah. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah. Schmid and net game 5.
That's
Oh,
tomorrow, right?
yeah, tomorrow. One other thing I wanted to point out between game 2 and 3, Brennan Smith and Miles Wood had offensive zone penalties in game 2 that led to power play goals by Chris Kreider. Scratch both of them. Neither of them have played since. And the penalties, they haven't come down, but they're less like costly. Like, I do believe a time and a place makes it easier for a penalty kill. Offensive zone penalties, I feel like they lead to goals more often than defensive zone penalties. Like, there are good penalties to take. And I don't know. I see it that way. We'll see if the Devils are able to kind of climb out what was a very hard 2-0 hole. But now it's a tied series 2-2. Foster says, afternoon, everyone. Afternoon to you as well, Foster. We lost Frankie for a second. I don't know where Frankie went. Frankie's back. Frankie's back.
I hit something.
Oh, I was like, what's going on? Foster says you look off. Any response?
No, not at all. I'm dialed in.
Dialed in. So Frank, that's Devils Rangers. I don't know. Did you catch what I said about Wood and Smith being out and penalties and all that?
Yeah, but I didn't catch the tail end of it.
I just said those guys haven't played. They're probably not going to again in this series. You got to stick with the winning lineup. 2 wins without Miles Wood and Brennan
Hmm.
Smith taking offensive zone penalties. I've liked the game Jesper Boquist has played. I liked seeing Andre Polak get a goal, even though it was an empty netter. That could be huge for someone. Everyone's played well, and hopefully that continues into Game 5. Devils Rangers tied 2-2. Now we will move on to the team that the winner of this series will play and beat. I'm just kidding. I don't know
No
who
shot,
I don't know who I
VP.
would pick. I don't know who I would pick. Oh,
Oh,
don't
I
you
don't know.
give me no shot.
I
We'll
don't,
get to a series that takes away your no shot
why?
ability.
Why I don't know what you're talking. What series you're talking? If you're
I'm
just going
talking
right
about
down
the
the
New
middle.
York Islanders and the
Yeah, come
Carolina
on.
Hurricanes.
This is exactly what I predicted. 6 games.
6 games. The New York Islanders defeated the Carolina Hurricanes on the road yesterday. It's a 3-2 series lead for the Carolina Hurricanes. Go ahead. Just
What are we worried about?
go off on
I
the
don't know
Carolina
what are we
Hurricanes.
worried about. This is 6 games.
I want the
The guy
Hurricanes
who's
to win.
high up on the series, the high up on the Hurricanes, picked them in 6. This is what I expected. I didn't expect them. I wanted them to win yesterday, but I wasn't expecting it. If I expected 6 games, they'd have to lose. Listen, Sorokin's been unbelievable this year. It was a big night for him yesterday, too. 34 saves, great game by Sorokin. And he's the reason the Islanders are where they are today, that they're even in the playoffs and that they're able to hang with the Carolina Hurricanes. Now, something else happened yesterday in the Islanders game that I think gives them a little boost as well. And Matthew Barzal got a beautiful goal. Nikas turned it over to Bo Horvat. Bo Horvat passed it to Matthew Barzal, and it was a 2-on-1. And if you're Antti Ranta and you got a 2-on-1 with Bo Horvat and Matthew Barzal, yeah, I mean, it's like, you know how hard that is to stop, because if you pass, you got Bo Horvat over there, or you're just going to have Barzal taking the shot. And Brent Burns did a great job of cutting off the pass to Bo Horvat, but Barzal pots one past Antti Ranta, And that's a confidence booster right there because not only does Sorokin have to be great, but this Islanders offense has to be great. And I think that sparks with Matthew Barzal's success on the ice. Now, also something else in the game, some takeaways from the game. The Islanders had 22 block shots. 22 block shots, VP. Carolina only had 4. That was a difference maker. They weren't afraid to get in front of the net. They played like it was a game 7 for them, and they have to because their back's against the wall. But at the end of the day, the only advantage to me that the Islanders really had going into the series was their goaltending. And I just don't think that they're going to be able to outweigh and win 3 in a row against the Hurricanes. They had the worst power play coming into the playoffs of all the playoff teams. They were 30th in the league in power play overall. So they really have no advantages, and I just think that's going to hurt them in the long run because we saw Carolina dominate yesterday, and Sorokin was able to steal the game. I don't think that's going to happen 2 more times in a row. That's very tough to do. Their back's against the wall. Foster says life's on the line. They have to play every game like it's a game 7, whereas Carolina, they don't have to play as aggressive. They could take a little less chances. So I think that's going to ultimately hurt the Islanders. And I see the Carolina Hurricanes winning this game in 6, just as I predicted.
I agree with you. And you brought up the block shots. I actually think there's a very solid explanation for that. That to me, all the block shots, it actually makes the Islanders look bad and not good, in my opinion. And I'll tell you why. The Islanders had 22 shots on goal, and they blocked how many? 22.
No, wait, what? No, the Carolina Hurricanes had 36 shots on goal.
Yeah,
Sorokin had 34 saves.
but how many shot blocks? What
Shot
were
blocks, so you got to add that to the 36. So there were 58 total shot attempts, I think.
well, you're missing what I'm asking you. I meant how many total shot blocks? You were raving
22.
about the shot blocks that
22.
the Islanders had, and the Hurricanes had how many? 4.
And the Hurricanes had 4 block shots.
Okay, those 22 block shots plus the 22 taken by the Islanders. That means they had 44 shot attempts that weren't also like there were more shot attempts. There were definitely misses on the net. So the total of around 50 shots attempts. The Hurricanes probably blew that out of the water because they had 36 shots on goal in general, and their shot attempts were more useful and more effective.
Yeah, by
That
no
makes the
means.
Islanders look bad, in my opinion. And it's
Oh,
like, wow,
I
without
agree with you.
Sorokin.
I wasn't saying like that was good for the Islanders. That's like a big red flag. That's what I'm saying. It's
Yeah,
like
well,
it was stunning to me.
it makes the players look good, like they're giving it their all, but they're being outplayed, and they won, thankfully for them. But oh man, I just the Islanders are capable of winning a game on the road and forcing Game 7. It wouldn't stun me. It wouldn't stun me at all.
Well, the Islanders come home for game 6.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You
Come
said you
home.
wouldn't be shocked if they won a game on the road and force game 7.
I meant home.
Yeah,
If
I
they
mean,
won a game at home and forced Game 7, it wouldn't shock me at all.
just the way they're playing is not sustainable.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I
Not
mean,
to win 3 in a row.
we've seen goalies steal series. It's happened before, but you're down 3-2 in the series. You think they're going to win them both? I don't. As a Devils fan, rooting for them to win the series and then potentially the second series, I'm picking Carolina. I would rather the Devils face Carolina than the Islanders because of
You'll
the goalie.
regret that in 5 games
No, I won't.
when the Devils get swept by the Hurricane.
Just like I told you that the Bruins would rather face Florida than the Islanders, or Pittsburgh than the Islanders. This is what I mean.
I think
This is
Bruins would have beat the Islanders in 5 the same way.
I don't think 5, 6, like, and if it wasn't 5, it would be like a hard 5. They've rolled through Florida without Bergeron and Krejci. Oh my God! And if Pittsburgh, they would have steamrolled them too. They stunk.
Series
I'm
ain't
telling
over.
you, series ain't over. But Bergeron's coming back. You picking Florida tonight? I mean, we'll get
No.
to that. We'll get to that. But the Islanders, they make it tough because of the goaltender. I'd always rather face the weaker goalie if the teams are about equal, I would look at the goaltenders, and that's where the Islanders get the edge. But man, you know what? At the end of the day, though, I know you're super biased for the Hurricanes, but it's been a fun series for someone like me who doesn't give an absolute crap who
No.
wins.
I'm being biased, but in a factual way. Like, in my opinion, Carolina Hurricanes are the better team here. I told you that the Islanders had the goaltending advantage coming into the series. We both agree on that. But there's no other advantage that the Islanders have.
Yeah, I'm not saying your bias is because of anything like you're not spewing facts. I'm saying you do want them to win, so
Oh,
you've had a
absolutely.
you've had a bias rooting interest in the series. I have not.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't care who wins. I
Yeah.
predicted the Islanders. I'm going to be wrong, but I don't care who wins. Like you care who wins. That's what I meant
Right.
by bias.
Right.
Like I have a bias in the Oilers Kings series. I don't. I picked the Oilers, but I also want them to win. Like I would want them to win if we didn't do this show. If we didn't make brackets, I would be
Right.
rooting for the Oilers. Um, but yeah, we'll get to that series in a minute too. But we move on. Frank, you're toast.
You're talking before the series is over. After the Lightning won game one, I said I ain't saying anything till the series is over.
But you did say stuff after game one. I did too. Sheldon Keefe was a moron in game number one. Luckily for the Leafs, it took him one game to make adjustments, unlike Lindy Ruff, who would took 2 games for them to make adjustments. But because the Devils were just they played the same game in game two that they did in game one, no adjustments whatsoever. But the Leafs, they did. And Tavares and Nylander haven't been getting much ice time. They really only play on the power play and then at even strength about as often as the fourth liners. Nylander had 14-20 of ice time in an overtime game. Tavares was in the 17-minute range. 5 of it was power play time. They're lowering the ice time for guys who haven't been able to handle what the top guys of Tampa Bay do. But those guys have still been producing offensively. Tavares has a couple goals. Nylander with some big offensive production. Marner and Matthews have finally showed up for the Leafs full blown in the playoffs. They showed up last year in the playoffs too, but not quite enough. They have a 3-1 series lead. I would love to hear what you have to say about it.
Listen, the big guns for the Toronto Maple Leafs stepped up. Morgan Riley, Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner. They played a great game when it mattered most. When their backs were against the wall, down 4-1. They were down 1-0 in the series. They win 3 straight. Props to them. Props to them. And they're doing a great job of exploiting Vasilevsky's weakness. And I didn't know this, but one of the former Tampa Bay Lightning assistant coaches did a study when he was with Tampa, and Vasilevsky is one of the worst goalies when locating point shots. I didn't know that. I don't know if you knew that,
It is not.
but 9 of the Maple Leafs goals this postseason in the series have come from the point, including 4 of the 5 goals in game 4. They realize it, they're exploiting it, and they're doing a good job. And I don't know why Vasilevsky is not good at that. It's just one of his weaknesses. So whoever made that known in the locker room, I mean, that's just great coaching right there. However, their biggest challenge is closing out a series. You can make fun of me, say I'm toast all I want, but they have lost 10 straight consecutive games in the Matthews era when having the chance to close out a series, and they have not been able to do so. So I'm still riding and dying with the Tampa Bay Lightning until they officially win the series. Now, in my eyes, I would love for the Lightning to win in 7. If the Lightning win this series, it is going to be even a worse look for the Toronto Maple Leafs. So you better hope that the Leafs pull this one out. Or if you thought my talk about the Leafs was bad now, it is just going to fluctuate times 10.
Let me say this. I'm not acting like they won the series. I'm acting like they have a 3-1 series lead. That's what I meant. Like you were upset when they came back from 4-1.
Absolutely.
And you were wrong. I was wrong. We were all wrong. Typical Leafs, the Toronto Maple Laughs. I've heard it all. I've heard it
Typical.
all.
It's going to be
Typical,
typical when they lose in
typical.
7.
I'll tell you what, pal. If the Maple Leafs don't win this series, I will never pick them anything other than to be swept ever again.
See, I don't even believe you.
I am dumbfounded by the level of people that think they're still going to lose the series. And it like has me second guessing myself. Like, are they? Tampa Bay's capable of winning 3 in a
If there
row.
is a team to do it, it is the Lightning.
No doubt. And listen, I probably sound like a Lightning hater. I have rooted for the Lightning in all 3 Stanley Cup finals they played in. I wanted them to beat Dallas in the bubble. I wanted them to beat Montreal in the short season, and I wanted them to beat Colorado last year. I have rooted for the Lightning in every Stanley Cup. Really, the only series that I haven't rooted for them in, they played the Devils in 18. They beat them in 5, but I was rooting for the Devils. I rooted for the Bruins the 2 times they played against them, and I rooted for the Leafs the 2 times against them. Pretty much every other time against everybody else, the Lightning, Montreal, whoever else it may be in the playoffs, Washington. I've rooted for the Lightning. Actually, I rooted for Pittsburgh for them when they played them in back-to-back conference finals too. But I like the Lightning. It's nothing to do with the Lightning. Chernak's out again for Game 5. It's already confirmed. That's one of your top 3 D. Hedman probably going to play, but he's not 100%. He's just so obviously not. He's extremely effective on the power play. He's very good at even while hurt. He's quarterbacking it, making the nice tape to tape passes. Where Kucherov, in order for Kucherov, that goal that I can't remember who it was that tipped it in. It might have been Killorn. Kucherov like winded up like he was going to take a shot, and he like passed it to the front of the net hard like it was a slap shot. If Victor Hedman doesn't put, it's all Kucherov. Kucherov gets all the credit for that goal. If Victor Hedman doesn't put it on his tape, he can't make that slap shot pass. He just can't. He would have to catch it, corral it, dust it off, and then pass it. It just without Hedman, there are very few in the league that can do what he does. Roman Josi, Cale Makar, Dougie Hamilton, Duncan Keith back in the day, guys like that, the Norris guys, McAvoy, Lindholm, stuff like that. He's not 100% at 5-on-5, though. The penalty killing has been the same. I read about Derek Lalonde's thing with Vasilevsky. If I was the Lightning, I would call him up right now and be like, dude, can you not? Like, what are you, like, it seems a little scummy, but the Leafs, they seem to have figured that out. The thing is, though, what goalie is great at that? What goalie's outstanding at picking up high-quality point shots like that? I feel like a lot of the time,
I
like,
can't just sit here and just name a goalie.
no, but like if shots get through all that traffic, what goalie does pick it up last second every single time? I feel like a lot of goals are scored like that.
But why is Vasilevsky that bad at it?
Probably, if I had to guess, it seems that he's bad at it because Tampa Bay has been so good at preventing those types of chances.
Yeah.
Their forwards are hard on the attacking D, and they play good D in front of the net, and they don't really make things difficult for Vasilevsky to be this all-time great goaltender. Most of his career has been played with Hedman, with McDonough, with guys like that. McDonough's not there anymore, but he was there for a long time. Chernak is outstanding. We've seen what Sergachev can do. Their defense has been outstanding for most of his career, and I don't know. I can't sit there and act like I think any goalie is just outstanding at getting pucks from 100 feet out that go through 4 different players' legs and tipped in front and stuff like that. Like Kerfoot's goal in front, who's stopping that? The OT winner. That came from long range, and then Kerfoot tipped it in. Let me tell you something. Igor gives that up. Schmid gives that up. Marty Brodeur in his prime gives that up. I don't know. I just I feel like it's probably valid. The numbers probably do back up the claim. I just feel like the Leafs are becoming better at trying to exploit what would exploit anyone. And maybe the fact that they're just realizing this now is why they've lost 10 straight elimination games for their opponent, or 8 straight playoff series in the first round. Like, I don't know.
All I gotta say is if the Leafs don't win Game 5, they better hope they win Game 5, because I find it very hard to believe the Lightning would lose 3 straight at home.
You would think not. I just don't think those things matter in the playoffs. I think every game is like a new story. Because who would have thought they'd lose 2 in a row at home? Not you.
No, right, which is why 3 in a row just seems absurd.
It does, but then it's like if it happens, it'll be like Did it really matter all that much? Like, I don't know. The Leafs have 3 chances to close this thing out. And if I'm the Boston Bruins, I'm rooting for this series to go 7. And then I probably root for I don't know who I root for if I'm the Bruins because the Leafs are a better team, but the Lightning have Vasilevsky. So it's like, who do you root for if you're the Bruins? But they have a 3-1 series lead over the Florida Panthers. What's your take?
I think this is another series that's going just by how the book is told. I predicted Bruins in 5. You figured the Panthers would pick up 1, which they did. Now Bruins come home. They won without Bergeron and Krejci. Allmark was a game time decision last game. He played well. Bergeron coming back for game 5, but Krejci's going to be out. And I know the Panthers are getting Ekblad and Duclair back for game 5 as well. But at the end of the day, Kachuk can't do it all. Bruins probably going to win this game pretty easily. If not, maybe an overtime winner. But I don't see this series going past 5 games.
I agree. The Bruins will close it out tonight, methinks. What is tonight? Is tonight?
It's just 2 games.
Yeah, it's just the 2 games. I think. Well, the second game can't get closed out. I think the Bruins do it. On home ice.
I'd be shocked if it went 6, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and you know what? Florida's pesky. They've been back and forth with Lyon, and Bobrovsky has played now. But Bergeron's back. Taylor Hall looks like Devil's Taylor Hall. He's got 7 points in 4 games. I mean, he's been unbelievable. If you got a Conn Smythe trophy after the first round, Taylor Hall would win it if the Bruins were the team. I think he's going to have another big game today. He doesn't lead the team, or I think he technically is tied with Dmitry Orlov for points. Orlov has 7 points. Orlov has 6 DeBrusk with 4 goals. I mean, Allmark or Bobrovsky, I'm not too sure who's going to start. They've both been bad. Allmark and Swayman, both good in their appearances in the playoffs. So Swayman didn't get credit for the win that he appeared in, but he does have 1,000 save percentage, no goals against. 926 save percentage for Allmark, 3-1-0 record. It's been, that Bruins game that got away too, the loss, they had a chance to win that one. This just seems like the type of series where, like, you have this historically great team and they're up 3-1 in a series. It just feels like a gentleman's sweep to me. I really don't think there's like all that much else to say about it other than, the Bruins, they're going to face one of in the next round, Toronto or Tampa Bay. And then if they get through that gauntlet, because it'll be hard either way, even if you pick them to win, I don't think either of us are picking the Leafs or the Lightning to lose in 5. I would probably go Bruins in 7 over either. And then you get through that, and you're facing the Metro champions. So you either got the Devils, the Hurricanes, or the Rangers, and probably our opinions. Your opinion is the Hurricanes easy, but like I'm sure you could lump the Devils and Rangers in there for sure. I would rank the Canes third out of those 3, but I still think the Canes have a chance. The Bruins are so good. They're the deepest team I've ever seen. Bertuzzi has come to play in the playoffs. I still can't believe they made that trade. We were stunned on this show. Like, that was the last minute thing the Bruins did. Bobby Orlov has been amazing. So, the Bruins, they have all this playoff experience. Bergeron's back. Ekblad's back for Florida. That'll make a difference, but I don't know. I don't see this series going too far past today.
I'm going to say an overtime victory for the Bruins tonight. I think it's going to be tight.
I'm sure it will be tight. I agree with you. An overtime win, that'd be a good way to go into the second round for the Bees. It would be an overtime.
I'm smelling like a 3-2 victory.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'm all in on that. I love that. If they get to overtime, though, it gets fishy. Matthew Tkachuk,
Brandon in overtime, right?
Brandon Montour. Yeah, weird bounces, Allmark slips. There's all sorts of things that could happen in overtime. So hopefully the Bees pull it out, though. I want to see Mr. Joey Parisi be excited about a series win because last year the Bees kind of choked in the second round.
Yeah, they did.
Or no, would that have been the first round? Was it the first round?
Did they play the Hurricanes in the first round?
I don't remember. I think it was.
I thought it was the second round.
Well, the Hurricanes certainly didn't make it to the third round because the Lightning played the Rangers.
But the Hurricanes played the Rangers last year.
Yeah, in the second round.
Oh, they lost. Yeah.
Yeah, they lost to the Rangers, who lost to the Lightning. It was definitely the Bruins lost in the first round last year.
Wow.
It's weird to think about, but they did. The Hurricanes were a tad bit better last year. I don't know. It's hard to say without Svechnikov and Teravainen. That's where I'm falling off the Hurricanes a little bit. You take two of their top six forwards out, that's tough. But we'll see. They've been able to prevail so far. But the Bruins 3-1 over the Panthers. We'll see if they're able to close it out tonight. And that about does it for the Eastern Conference, what's going on in those four series. So we will send it over to the West in period number 2. Before we get to the Western Conference, I want to give a little bit of a shout out. Boom, boom, Dallas, Stars, Dallas, Stars, Dallas. Congrats to G on Blackout Dallas. Let's go. What? How, Frank, how did that happen?
You're asking me. I don't even know how it happened, to be honest. I think she put a proposal in for them, and then I was like, she told me, I'm like, oh, okay. It like caught me off guard too. I was like, wow. I'm telling you, I've never seen her like, she was so pumped. I forgot what game it was. What game did they go? What game did they win in overtime? Was it game 4?
I don't think
No.
they won a game in overtime.
What game? Let's see. They were home. They got home ice advantage, right?
Yeah, they do. They beat the Wild 3-2 to tie the series in game 4. But it wasn't in overtime.
It went 2-1 Wild, right?
Yeah, it went 2-1 Wild, and then Tyler Seguin scored to make it 3-1. Relatively late in the third, Freddie Gaudreau got the Wild to within 1 with a power play goal late, but Tyler Seguin's goal stood as the game winner.
It was either game 2, 3, or 4. I thought it was a home game, but I didn't think it was that early in the series. She was like erupting when they tied it. I was like, damn. Like, I haven't seen her do that since she's watched Hawks games. Like, she's excited when she watches Hawks games. But like the way she felt about Dallas, you clearly know she loves the Stars.
Hawks Stars in a playoff series. Who does she root for?
She said it would be the Hawks.
Okay.
Now, you know what's something interesting? The Rockford Ice Hogs are playing the Dallas farm team in the semifinal. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew that.
Which I thought was pretty funny.
That is funny.
Now, I asked her, I said, so what happens if the Hawks play Dallas? She said, no, I'd root for the Hawks.
Yeah, sure, G. Sure.
Can we confirm?
That's what Joey used to say, too.
He gave a thumbs up.
That's what Joey used to say,
He gave a thumbs up, VP.
Back in 2012. And then people will annoy you enough about liking the Stars, and you'll say, you know what? F you. Go Stars. The Stars, they got a 3-2 series lead over the Minnesota Wild after being down 2-1 in the series. Nice little comeback. We talked about it. Our guy, Tyler Seguin, stepping up. He's got 4 goals in the postseason. And the Stars now have a pretty awesome 3-2 series lead. What's your takeaway?
What's my takeaway is that the Dallas Stars are getting better as the series go on. Ottinger stole the show with the shutout. He's looking better as the series went on. Gustafsson just looked really bad last game. He looked really off. There was something about him. Didn't look himself, letting in some cheeks here and there. I just don't like the way he looked in game 4 or game 5. The Stars limited the Wild to only 27 shots on goal. And if you could limit the Wild to that little amount of goals with a goalie like Jake Ottinger, there's no reason why he couldn't have got a shutout that game. Like, the Wild need to find more opportunities. They also need to stay out of the box, VP, because the Wild PK continues to struggle. And I think that's the biggest story here in this series. They let up 2 power play goals in game 5, 9 total power play goals in this series. Man, 9 total power play goals. They've given up at least 2 power play goals in 4 of 5 of the games this series. Now, make things fair, the Wild are missing key penalty killers such as Eriksson Ek and Mason Shaw, and they also lost Marcus Foligno, who's another penalty killer for the knee-to-knee game misconduct. But I mean, that's no excuse. They can't keep the puck out of the net when they're on the PK, and that's a huge problem in the series. It's like, it's just looking really bad. And, on the flip side of things, Tyler Sagan's finding life in the playoffs. He's got 4 goals in the playoffs, including the GWG and the shutout. He scored the opening goal in the game. So, everything seems like it's clicking right now for the Dallas Stars. And when you look at the Minnesota Wild, everything's going wrong. It's like they're falling apart. But I wouldn't be surprised if it goes 7.
I wouldn't be surprised if it goes 7 either. I actually would think the Wild do win Game 6 and then probably lose Game 7, which would be my prediction. But, anything could happen in these games. I don't know who I would go to if I were Dean Evison, Marc-Andre Fleury, or Gustafson. I don't really think there's a right or wrong answer there. You just got to kind of feel it out. Every time I think about Jake Ottinger, though, I said it last show, I get more and more mad at that bozo
It's a
Stan
heartbreaker.
Bowman.
I
The
know.
They traded back a couple picks, let the Dallas Stars have Ottinger, who was going to go next to whatever team had that pick. I mean, he was just so clearly going to be the next pick. And the Dallas Stars in the 2017 NHL draft added a superstar at every position. They took Miro Heiskanen third overall, superstar defenseman, one of the most underrated players in the NHL. He's not as good as Cale Makar, who went a pick later. If that draft were redone, Makar would go first. I think Heischer would go second, and I think Heiskanen would go third. Heiskanen would go third, I would say. Peterson probably goes fourth. But Dallas, they don't care. They got Miro Heiskanen. He's outstanding. And then they got Jake Ottinger, pick 26. Who did they get with pick 39? Jason Robertson. Superstar. Actually, Robertson would probably go third or fourth if that draft were redone. Honestly, you could argue Heischer Robertson even. Do you want the two-way guy who gets 80 points, or do you want the offensive guy who gets 100? It's like it's close.
Mm-hmm.
And, Dallas, you have such a great draft like that. You had 3 superstars in the first 2 rounds. I'm trying to think of how Dallas would have gotten back into the first round because they had a later pick too. They probably traded it with someone. For some reason, a trade with the Penguins sticks out, but I can't really confirm that off the top of my head. That allowed them to trade up with the Hawks.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, this Robertson, 2 goals, 4 assists, 6 points. I mean, in the regular season that
It's
he had,
unbelievable.
just absolutely unreal. Joe Pavelski, Tyler Sagan, Jamie Benn. You got Ottinger in net. Ryan Suter has had a sneaky, impactful series, pissing off everyone he goes up against. Didn't know Suter was going to turn into what he's turned into. When he was with the Wild, he was like a smooth skating, always in the right position type defenseman. With Dallas, he's kind of like becoming a menace. And, it's good times in Dallas right now. And I do think they're going to make a little run here. I think I'm not trying to spoil anything because I want people to watch our future shows. If right now it were to happen, I would pick the Stars to beat the Kraken or the Avalanche in the second round.
I don't remember what I chose. I might have done the same.
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't
remember either.
remember.
I don't remember either, actually. But what I did for my bracket before the playoffs start is not impacting what my brain thinks right now. Because some of us might have gone back and changed our Devils pick after two. I mean, series are long, man. It's not one game.
I never would change after one.
Me either. You can't change after 2. I
Yeah.
mean, for God's sake, if someone would have changed after the Devils, I hope somebody in our bracket went back and changed to the Rangers after the first game, because then they might get screwed, and I hope they do. But the Stars, they're very, very good. Shout out Blackout Dallas. I'm very excited to catch the first article. I don't think the first article has come out yet.
I don't think so.
That'll be cool though. Blackout Dallas follows me, I believe. Let me see. I like the fan-sided sites. So, and Blackout Dallas is normally one of the more what's the word I'm looking for? Active Twitter accounts of all the fan-sided sites. Yep, Blackout Dallas follows you.
There you go.
Nice. So yeah, good stuff. And they will play the winner. If the winner of this series will play the winner of this tied series, the only tied series left in the Western Conference, that we will break the tie tonight, the Seattle Kraken and the Colorado Avalanche. Frank, the Seattle Kraken, man, They're tied 2-2 in the series with the Stanley Cup champions.
Avs in 6.
Valeri Nichushkin's out. Gabriel Landeskog is out. Kale McCarr suspended a game. I don't know how you could just say Avs in 6 with such confidence after hearing those three names missing from the lineup for Game 5.
Well, you forgot that McCann's out for the Seattle Kraken, which is going to hurt the Seattle Kraken. A 40-goal score. That's a tough one to lose when you're trying to defeat the Stanley Cup champs from last season. You mentioned McCarr is out for the interference on McCann, but it just seems like the Kraken can't hold a lead in this series. They were up. Was they up 2-0 again in Game 4 and they lost the game? They've scored first in every single game of this series. And they very well could be up 3-1 right now, or maybe even sweep the series. It's just like the Colorado Avalanche just come back and find ways when they're down goals. That's what happened last season. It seems like every time Colorado was out of a game in the regular season last year or even the playoffs, they just found a way to get back in it and win the game. However, I don't really like that the way the Avalanche has been playing this postseason. That's not a sustainable way to win, is go down every game and expect to make a comeback. It's just not. It's just not sustainable. They're not as dominant this year in the playoffs as we saw in last year's playoff series. Jaden Schwartz had one of the best games of his career in a Kraken uniform. I mean, he had 11 shots on goal, a hit, a takeaway, an assist. Jordan Eberle notched the OT winner. He looked great. One of his better games in a Kraken uniform. It looked phenomenal, everything that the Seattle Kraken were doing. And I think the biggest takeaway from this game is that the Seattle Kraken got playoff experience for their franchise. This was their first ever OT playoff experience. They ended up winning. They know what it's all about. They could settle down some of the emotions maybe that some of the guys were having. But no, I do believe that the Avalanche are going to win this game or this series in 6. I still believe it. I think the loss of McCann hurts more than the loss of the players you named for the Avalanche, just because of how more deep that this Colorado team is.
I feel that. At first, I was about to clown you, and then you gave a good reason. I was about to be like, you think McCann is more of a loss than McCarr? But then you saved yourself by saying because of the depth on the teams. Yes, I understand and I agree with that. I give every time I clown the Kraken, because that's what I was going to say. I was thinking something similar when I was writing this sheet up, because I think about what I'm going to say as I'm writing it myself, and I'm like, every time I diss the Kraken, they shove it up my hoop every single time. I thought they'd get swept, so I'm supposed to sit here right now and say Avs in 6 after everything they've done to me this season. Competitively bad, top 3 pick again. Bedard to Seattle. All these negative things I've said about them, and here they are with a 2-2 series split with the Colorado Avalanche. I'm going to give them enough respect to not even make a prediction on how the rest of the series is going to go. I picked the Avalanche in 5. I still think the Avalanche are going to win the series, but to guess whether it's 6 or 7, I do not feel qualified to do so, because I don't know a damn thing about the Seattle Kraken right now. I'm just telling you, I'm just being honest with you. The Kraken, if they go on the road and take advantage of the fact that there's no Valeri Nichushkin, he left the team. There's no Cale McCarr, he's suspended. We already know Gabriel Landeskog isn't playing in the postseason. Who am I to say Seattle can't go into Colorado and steal a game there? Do I think if they do that, Cale McCarr can return for game 6 and 7 and make the comeback? Yeah, absolutely. But you know what? I'm not counting out I've been counting out the Kraken all season long, shoving it up my hoop. I have no reason to do it anymore. I'm done roasting the Kraken. They have my respect.
Well, I feel qualified to make a prediction. Avs in 6.
All right.
Just because that was my pre-bracket prediction. That's what I had in the bracket going into the series. You kind of were like, Avs in 6. You think they're going to get 2?
I was wrong.
And I still think it's going to hold out. Avs in 6.
Very good.
I love all my pre-playoff series predictions, because right now everything just seems like it's going exactly as predicted.
Yeah. If the
I had
Devils
Knights in 5, Rangers in 7, Avs in 6, Bruins in 5. Everything just seems Hurricanes in 6. It's just like everything seems like it's going the way I predicted.
What about the Maple Leafs?
I had Lightning in 6, but that's fine. That's fine. And I had the Oilers in 5, so but
But even picking the games, who cares? Getting the series right is what really matters. Um, I have them all. If the Devils win, I have them all except the Islanders. So, you know, and they were. I was looking bad after the first game in every series. I'll tell you that much. Most of the teams that lost game one are on track to win the series. Was
Yeah.
Winnipeg won game one. The Kraken and Devils and Rangers and Avalanche, they're all tied. So nobody's really on track to win
Well, the
that
Bruins
series.
won game one, right?
Yeah, they're one of the ones I had right on day one. And yeah, the Wild won game one. The Jets won game one. The Kings won game one. Um, the Lightning won game one. Yeah, wow. And game one losers go on to lose the series like 80% of the time or something like that, they say.
Yeah, it's
So
crazy.
it's an oddball year. Hockey's not the same as it was 20 years ago. That's why some of these old school stats really don't jive with me anymore. But with the team on your head, the Vegas Golden Knights, 3-1 series lead over the Winnipeg Wets. I mean, pretty chalk here. The Jets, the whiteout in Winnipeg was fun. That fan base is rabid. I like when the Jets are good. They came back in that game three. They were down big and they came all the way back, and then Vegas stole it in overtime. They didn't deserve to win. But Jack Eichel, playoff Jack Eichel is activated. He's looked really, really good. Um, I'm excited about this Golden Knights team. 3-1 series lead.
Yeah, Eichel continues to grow and thrive in these playoffs. He had a little shaky game one in the series, but ever since then, he's just excelled. He had 3 points in game three. He didn't have any points in game four, but he was still one of the biggest X factors in that game. He drew 2 penalties. He was very, physical out there on the ice. So I like the way he played. Very important piece when you don't get on the scoreboard there. But I think what's killer here in this series, and especially for the Jets, is Jets now. Shifley's injured. That's a 42 goal scorer. Morrissey's injured. That's that hurts like really bad. He had 70 points this year. It's 76 points. That's tough to lose as well. You can't, in my opinion, you're not going to win a series without those guys, especially when you're already down 3-1. So I don't know Shifley's status for Game 5 if he plans on playing, but it seems like every good team that has a chance to make a run in the postseason has some sort of unlikely hero. I think the unlikely hero we saw in Game 4 was Brett Howden. He had a 2-goal game, which is the first multi-goal game of his career, and there's just no better time that could have happened in. Brassois hasn't given up a 5-on-5 goal in the past 5 periods of play, so the kind of question mark surrounding Vegas's goaltending going to the playoffs has kind of been shut down a little bit. I love the way that they've been playing. While they got off to a rocky start, they've looked so good since then. I would assume that the Knights close this out in 5 just because of all the stuff that the Jets are going through right now. Everything's just going downhill for them.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I was proud of them after game one. It looked like they might win game three, but the Golden Knights have just been too much for them to prevail. So,
Mm-hmm.
with the way that the Golden Knights have played, they score power play goals, they kill penalties. The goaltending's a little shaky. I'm not going to be all that confident in them in the second round, really, against either team, because I think the team that they play in the second round is the one that's going to go to the Cup. That's just my odd feeling right now. We'll get to that series in just a second, but yeah, credit to the Golden Knights. They've been really, really good here in round number one.
Yeah, they really have. It's not a surprise the way the Jets kind of second half of the season went though. They kind of fell off a cliff and they were hot right there at the end, but it's just not the Jets' time. It was good enough that they even got into the playoffs because we, both of us were a bit unsure if they were even going to do that. So
Yeah, 100%. Then that series I touched on, the Edmonton Oilers and the Los Angeles Kings, 3-2 series lead for the Oil. A couple overtime winners in there for the Kings, but the Oilers, I think, in their 3 wins have looked a little more not dominant, but they've looked like the better team.
mm-hmm.
Um, I know that sounds dumb. The team that won looked better. Not always the case, though. The goaltending has been shaky. Stuart Skinner has looked like a rookie goalie in the playoffs. We've seen rookie goalies look bad in the playoffs. We've obviously seen rookie goalies look good in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
But so far they used Campbell in the comeback win. I would go back to Stuart Skinner in game 6 personally. which they have to wait all the way till Saturday to play Game 6.
I know.
Just a long layoff there. I don't know who that favors. It probably favors the Kings because McDavid and Draisaitl are really starting to pick it up out there, look like their regular season selves again
Yeah.
after the first couple games. But I don't know. What's your takeaway on this series?
The Kings choked. I mean, they were up 3-0 in game 4, and you blow the game, and you have a chance to be up 3-1, and now you're down 3-2. I mean, that's just deflating for the Los Angeles Kings. And, Skinner gets pulled. Campbell comes in to save the day in that game. Skinner comes back in goal, but I don't like the way Skinner looked in this game either. I mean, yeah, he let up 3 goals, and I think the reason, and I mean, I really don't like the way the Kings goals were being scored on him as well. I think all that talk around it was kind of covered up because the Oilers scored 6 goals, kind of blew them out 6-3. So I think a lot of that is being hidden right now. But I'm not liking the way the Oilers are playing. I think if the Oilers do play the Vegas Golden Knights next round, I think the goaltending may be a little even. I know, Stuart Skinner had a great regular season, but the way he looked in that game and the way he looked in game 4, I'm not feeling Skinner right now in these playoffs. But, no lead is safe in this series. The Oilers were 2 for 3 on the power play. The Kings have done an okay job staying off the PK, at least early on. I mean, they have taken 14 penalties, and the Oilers do have 8 goals on the 14 power plays that they've had, which equates to 57.1%, which is just unheard of. That every time you take a penalty, you can expect the Oilers to score almost 60% of the time, which is just unbelievable. But the Kings goaltending and the Kings overall, I just don't think are equipped to or built to stop 100-point scores on this team. And when you have to deal with that on the power play, they're just not built around that. So, I mean, would I be surprised if the Kings force Game 7? No. But I do think that the Edmonton Oilers are a lot better than the Los Angeles Kings. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I do as well. One thing that sticks out to me is that in Game 1, McDavid and Draisaitl had 4 seconds of ice time together at 5-on-5. By Game 3, 17 minutes together. And they kind of repeated that again in Game 5. And they're playing together a little bit at 5-on-5 again, and it's been working. I think that's only necessary against the Kings, who have Denault and Kopitar, and I can't think of another team that they'll play in the Western Conference that has 2 shutdown centermen like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you think of all the teams that have like a top shutdown guy, the Devils with Heischer, but there's nobody else like Heischer on the team. Bergeron on the Bruins, like few teams have 2 of those kinds of guys. The Kings do. If they were to play, let's say, the Golden Knights in round 2, I would separate them again. But for game 6, do it again, win the series. McDavid and Draisaitl are really looking like they could be on like a special path now that they got their legs under them. They treaded water in the series early on, and now it looks like they're ready to run away with it after 2 straight victories following that crazy overtime game between the Kings and the Oilers with the oddball OT winner that was debated for a couple days. I'm kind of glad we don't have to debate about it anymore because it's so subjective. It was so close. And now the Oilers have a 3-2 series lead.
Yeah, I worry about Stuart Skinner. I really do. The fact that he's just giving up some of these goals, like you're just giving up 3 goals on a regular, sometimes 4. I just don't like the way that he's looked. I kind of worry for this Oilers team. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, but again, the Kings present such a challenge for the Oilers for whatever reason. Like, I see Skinner picking it up again in the playoffs if they play somebody else. The Kings were always a terrible matchup for them. Even if they win it, like, you remember before the playoffs, I was saying, man, I wish the Oilers would win the division because the Kings just don't match up well for them. I don't think the Kings are they're a good team, but they're not on the Oilers level, but they
Right.
match up so well against them, and they have notes from how to play against them last year. So I don't know. It's been interesting though.
It has been. It's been a lot of fun for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. Um, Frank, good conversation on both the East and the West.
It was a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying the playoffs a lot. So
Yeah, me too. It's been it's been very interesting. I'm really nervous for tomorrow though. The Devils got to pull this off. Devils got to pull this off.
are you nervous if they lose game 5?
Um, They're a very good team, but yeah, because then your back's against the wall. Then it's like you lose again, you're done.
Hmm.
It would be nice to win Game 5 for sure. Frank, half hour on each conference. I think that's just about perfect. Let's have a little bit of fun in period number 3. Welcome to period 3, where Frank and I are going to talk anything and everything. You put what you want us to talk about in the chat, we'll touch on it. Frank, it is the eve of the 2023 NFL Draft. What's on your mind?
I don't think Bryce Young's a shoo-in to go number 1.
Okay, why?
Well, first of all, there's been a giant odd shift in Will Levi going number 2 or going number 1, just because the head coach and the GM for the Panthers went into his office and they basically said, I don't know who did what, but they offered a proposal on the quarterback they were going to take. And as soon as that conversation was done, the odds kind of skyrocketed towards Levi being chosen. In my opinion, you don't propose to take Bryce Young, right? Because that's like the consensus here. Not only that, but I don't know if it's true or not, but Bryce Young said, or not Bryce Young, Will Levi said, like he was making comments to his family and it kind of leaked saying, oh yeah, the Panthers are going to take me at number 1. So I don't know if he's got some inside information or how true those rumors are, but I'm pretty sure those were his words that came from his mouth to his family that ended up being leaked. So he's pretty confident he thinks the Panthers may take him at 1. I mean, the odds don't go from plus 4,000 to now like plus 700. I wouldn't be shocked, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked either. The only thing is the Panthers don't have a first round pick next year now. It belongs to the Bears. And they're probably going to suck again. So the Bears are really staring down 2 top 10 picks again next year. There's a really good quarterback class next year. But the Panthers aren't going to be able to take one of them.
But
So
Will
like
Levi is a quarterback.
no, I know, but would they do like because I think like if you take a risk like that.
I would take Bryce Young, me personally. But I think they want a guy who's a little bit bigger. Bryce Young's a little bit on the smaller side. Yeah.
Yes, we both probably agree though that Bryce Young is more of like the shoe-in type guy, like or at least the less of the least project type quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
But like we saw how big of a fail Zach Wilson was, and Levi reminds me of like that kind of story. And if he fails, you don't have a pick again next year to draft another one in that great class, and do what the Cardinals did, because the Cardinals they took a chance on Rosen
Mm-hmm.
and he sucked. And they took Kyler Murray the next year. They took a top 10 quarterback in back-to-back seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And if you take Levi and he stinks, the Panthers can't do that. I don't know. If they take him, I will be surprised, but it will also remind me why the good teams stay the good teams and why the bad teams stay the bad teams. It just really, really will.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Foster says, so Vin, you think the Bears and Panthers are going to suck?
Yes, very much so. I think you could put Tom Brady in his prime on this Bears team, and they would still be bad for one more year. Their roster is just incomplete. And, they're going to have a much better core group of linebackers, and they'll probably draft well. I hope they draft well. A bit of breaking news really quick, back to the NHL. Winnipeg Jets head coach Rick Bowness said center Mark Scheifele is officially out for
Oh, yeah.
Game 5. Not yet ruled out for Game 6, if there is one.
Yeah, no, that series is over in 5, I think for sure now. That's tough.
In response to that, Nikolai Ehlers will also be a game time decision. This is the best he's felt and the best he's looked. Dubois, Appleton, Stenlund, and are all dealing with nagging things, but none of them have been ruled out for Game 5. There you go.
Wow.
But yeah,
Wow.
back to the draft. Yeah, I think both the Panthers and the they're gonna stink. The Bears get 2 top 10. If one of them isn't a top 10 pick, it might be the Bears pick. The Panthers are gonna be pretty bad, I think. They'll be trying to develop a quarterback. There will be tough games for everyone, but I don't know. I don't see either team being all that good next year.
I think the Bears will be like 8 and 9, maybe.
I'll be stunned. I'll be happily stunned though. Foster says 7 or 8. So
Yeah, 8 and 9. He agrees with me.
the only thing, there's no cupcake in the division anymore. They're the cupcake. Yeah,
That's true.
the Lions aren't a cupcake. The Vikings aren't a cupcake. I think the Vikings take a big step back. I don't even think they make the playoffs probably, but they're not a cupcake. Um, now that Rodgers is gone, Kirk Cousins is probably the best quarterback in the division, which
Oh yeah.
sucks to say. Fields might be, Goff might be, but
hmm
I'm a little surprised the Lions aren't a little more in quarterback chatter.
You're surprised?
Yeah, because they're not gonna. But like, how long is Jared Goff gonna be their guy? He's not that good.
I agree. I'm a little
Um,
surprised.
yeah, 100%. You got anything else on the draft?
Um, I just know that the Bears need some O line guys, D line guys, cornerbacks. I mean, if they don't, do you think they're going to trade down from 9?
No.
If they don't, and they still hold on to that pick, I'm thinking that they maybe target Broderick Jones out of Georgia, who's an offensive tackle. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just from what I've looked at.
If as long as they don't take the running back, I think it's a win for the draft. Because you can't draft a running back in the top 10. That's just not how the NFL works anymore. Um, I just, there's the kid from Northwestern. There's Jackson Smith and Jigba. I wouldn't take a wide receiver because you have DJ Moore, you have Claypool, you have Mooney. Um, I don't think that's necessarily the most important thing right now. I would go offensive line or defensive line, edge rusher, something along those lines personally. I probably wouldn't go defensive back. You used a lot of draft capital on that last year.
True.
So that's where I stand on the Bears. For the Jaguars at 24, which I've been studying, I really like Miles Murphy out of Clemson. I just don't know if he is going to be there at 24 when the Jaguars pick. He could go anywhere from 10 to 20, 10 to 28, something in that range. So, yeah, the NFL draft, though, it's going to be fun. There's a lot of later round picks. I remember you being surprised when we talked about Stetson Bennett during the national championship.
Yeah.
Projected to go in the 7th round in every mock draft I've seen.
I didn't know how that worked.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, it's hard to describe why guys like him don't get any respect when it comes to turning pro. It's more about like physical tools.
But he is projected to be drafted.
Yes. In the late 6th, mid 7th, maybe even late 7th. I don't think he makes it to like Mr. Irrelevant status, but the Bears are one pick off from picking Mr. Irrelevant. They have the second to last pick in the draft. So the Houston Texans have the very last pick. So we'll see. I'm very excited for it, though. Are you?
Oh yeah, I'll probably tune in, at least keep up with it.
Yeah, I'll be keeping up with that. It'll be going on during the Devils game. The nice thing is the Bears pick at 9 and the Jaguars are at 24. So I'll be doing those. And then Michael Mayer out of Notre Dame, the tight end, he'll probably go in the first round. So I'll be doing something on that from a Notre Dame point of view as well for DeWindy City. I think that'll be interesting to see what team takes him. You know what team I hope lands Bennett? Hope he goes to the Falcons.
Why?
So he can play in Georgia. I think that would be so cool. Same colors, a lot of the times the same building. Not really the same, but like for the big games they play at Mercedes-Benz. Yeah. The NFL draft, though, there's a lot of great content revolving around it when it comes to the Barroom Network. These guys draft on tap, anything Dan and Aldo bare their souls. These guys are all over it. And we'll have some talk about it tomorrow on Crosstown Crosstalk as well, which is mostly a baseball show. What's going on in your world of baseball?
Well, in baseball right now, the Houston Astros stopped the Tampa Bay Rays 14-game home winning streak. I mean, you got to assume it was going to happen eventually, right? Like, yeah, you just can't win forever. It's a 162-game season. Not only that, but some other news in the MLB world that I thought was pretty cool is Spencer Strider has had 9 consecutive games with at least 9 or more strikeouts, which is just unbelievable, VP. Dating back to last September 1st. It's the longest in Braves history. He surpassed John Smoltz. Smoltz did it 8 times. Now Strider's done it 9 times. He's going for the record held by Nolan Ryan for 11 straight games with at least 9 or more consecutive strikeouts. I mean, he is just an absolute specimen of a human being. Um, I love the way he pitches. I mean, it's masterful to watch. That other night when he had 13 Ks, it was unbelievable. Foster said Cubs need to pick it up. I mean, Cubs have done pretty well. I mean, I wouldn't say they need to pick it up. I mean, they shut out the Padres yesterday. They took a series against the Dodgers. I mean, they've looked okay. I like what I'm seeing for them. He said, "Sox, fuck Vinny. What happened?"
The Cubs lost the series to the Dodgers too, though.
Yeah. Did they lose it or split? They lost it, right?
They might. I think they lost it.
Wasn't it? Was it a 4-game series?
If it was a 4 game, then they probably split it.
I
Actually,
think they split it, and then they split it with the Dodgers, and then they won the series with the Dodgers before that. So they've looked good. Um, they've looked good. The Mariners have been playing better lately.
yeah. I mean, I I think the Cubs are a good team. I don't think they're a great team. They're not a playoff team. There's a reason they're still third in their
I don't
division.
know if it's me, but you're hard to hear.
Is it hard to hear now?
It's a little better, but I don't know if it's me or
I don't know why that's happening.
it hasn't happened for a while.
Is it good now?
No, before the show you had some issues, but I mean maybe it's me. Maybe do you want me to log out? Like nobody else is saying anything in the chat, so
Foster, let me know how my audio sounds to you. For the Cubs, I think they're a good team. I'm not sure they're a great team just because the National League is loaded with great teams. The Braves are really good. The Mets, the Padres. Somehow the Pirates are on top of the division and haven't, lost a step at any point. Um, I think the when you go to the West, you look at the Diamondbacks who are off to a really good start. The
they are.
Padres, the Dodgers are they're kind of like not as good as the teams before, but teams of previous years for the Dodgers. But I don't know. The National League is so like top heavy, and I'm not sure where the Cubs fit into it. I need to see a little bit more. Like, they're pitching solid. They've had some big wins. The win over the Padres yesterday was outstanding. So we'll see what they're able to keep up throughout the summer as it goes along. For the White Sox, I got nothing.
Yeah, I can't hear you right now. You kind of lost it. And he says little light lower than Frank. All right, and we're just me now. So how's everybody doing? Um, yeah, I mean the MLB. It's been fun to watch so far. Frank's clear and louder. Vinny, you're fading. Yeah. So right now, I don't know. Foster, do you watch the MLB at all? I assume you're a White Sox fan, maybe, or you're just a Chicago fan in general, or um. But anyway, there's been some good stuff in the MLB right now. Um,
How's that?
now I can't hear you at all.
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
No, I can't hear what you're saying.
I don't know why. I hear myself.
Did you unplug your mic and plug it back in? Maybe. I mean, you had some issues before the. Oh, thank you, Foster's like the hat. I figured I wore my Kraken one last week. I'll wear the Knights one this week. But
How's that?
yeah, huh?
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Oh, I think that it's okay. It's better. I could hear you.
Yeah, I mean, if you can hear me, that's good. I don't know what is the issue today.
You had issues all day. You've been
No,
good the past few shows.
yeah, I know, but it's fine now. I unplugged it and plugged it back in.
Yeah, you're fine.
Is it like fine or is it like good?
No, it's like back to the way it was the whole show.
Okay, good. Um, but yeah, I was just saying the White Sox, they suck. They're so bad. I I don't even know. I have no explanation. The pitching's terrible. All the guys are underperforming except for Dylan Cease. He's been outstanding. He's a guy you want on your fantasy team, stuff like that. They're so bad without Tim Anderson. Their record without him in the last 3 years is putrid. I can't believe that one guy sets the tone that much where their record is that reflected on a guy. You can only hit when the balls, or you can only catch the balls that are hit to you. You can only bat once every 9 times in the lineup. Tony La Russa was an issue, but he wasn't the only issue. It's time to fire Rick Hahn. It's time to let go of everyone. You trade
Fire
Dylan
sale.
Cease. You trade Luis Robert Jr., who stinks. You figure out a way to unload Yohan Moncada, and you rebuild again. But you don't let Rick Hahn be the one rebuilding. It's not good times on the South Side right now. I mean, they don't play good baseball. You signed Andrew Benintendi to the richest contract in MLB history, or in Chicago White Sox history, MLB history. Yeah, right. As if the Sox would ever do something like that. It's not what you would want to see from a team that's 6 years into a rebuild and supposed to be in their quote unquote contention window.
Hmm.
It's just as bad as you could possibly imagine. I can't think of a Chicago team that failed more in ever.
Wow. It's tough to hear, VP.
Is it though?
I'm
I
not, yeah.
mean, it
What do you
was
want me
it was
to say?
it was fun when the White Sox were good. It was fun, but they're not. They they're not good, and nobody like argues it. It's like one of the most like down I've ever seen the fan base. Everyone's just like, yeah, we're terrible. There's nobody defending it. There's nobody optimistic that it's going to get better because it's not.
No,
And
you're right.
they're probably going to come in last place in the American League Central. They'll have a top pick. Are they A's bad? I don't know. I don't think so. But like, who knows? Who knows? And guess what? I am going to be one of the ringleaders in creating change because I'm not going to sit here and deal with this for all these years. You let Tony La Russa go. You hire Pedro Grifol. He stinks. He doesn't know what he's doing. You could have had Ozzie Guillen back. That would have at least changed the tone. They interviewed him. I don't know what happened. It's bad. It's really, really bad.
This was your time. I'm letting you have your time.
Tell me about the Mariners.
They're playing a lot better lately. They're
Way
not
better lately.
500, but they've looked like a completely different team in the past, say, 5 games. I think they've won 3 of their last 5. They look great. Gilbert's on the mound tonight. I'm excited to see that. Hopefully, they can take this game against the Phillies and they'll be 500 then. But I like the way that I've seen them be playing lately, and I hope they really can get back to the postseason because last year was just not enough. They got swept, and I just didn't have that feeling last year. It was just a heartbreak. So I got high hopes for this team. Kellenick's been great. I've loved Kellenick ever since he was a rookie. Was that 2 seasons? I think it was 2 seasons ago he
Two
first came to
seasons
the league.
ago.
I love the way he was playing as a rookie, and then he didn't. I believe he was in AAA last year for a little bit, but he's really molded into a great young player. So I like what I see from him. I like what I see from this team, and it's going to be an uphill climb. I didn't think the Mariners would jump out and be 10 games over 500 right now. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. It's a long season, but good things have been coming as of late. So hopefully it continues.
The Mariners are one of those teams that I do think they you hit a wall to start a season. It's April, whatever. By the midsummer, I don't see them not being like well into a playoff spot. Think people thinking World Series contender. They had the hotness of Julio Jones, or not Julio Jones, Julio Rodriguez last year. Stuff like that makes teams, a little more fired up, a little more hype around them. There was no hype around the Mariners this year. There was more expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And when expectations don't always go according to plan to start off, but I do think the roster is extremely talented and they'll be fighting all season long. And once the playoffs begin, they'll have as good of a chance as anybody. I'm not sure the Astros are as good as they are perceived to be. We'll see because they're still not getting typical Jose Abreu 0 home runs. Jose Altuve hasn't played yet this season, but we'll see how they go over time. But I highly recommend that everybody tunes into Crosstown Crosstalk tomorrow, where we're going to go over all of that in addition to getting you ready for the 2023 NFL Draft. I'm very excited for that show. It's going to be super duper fun. Frank, update me and all the listeners on the team that I'm a diehard fan of. Been a diehard fan my whole life, the Sacramento Kings.
The Sacramento Kings better win tonight or they're cooked. Let me tell you. You had a
We're in
2-0
trouble.
series lead, but hey, they come back home. We know how those Warriors are on the road, right? They could get a win done at home. I believe they could do it. Things are looking sketch though. De'Aaron Fox, perhaps the Kings' best player, has a finger fracture. So I don't know what his status is going to be for tonight's game. I assume he's playing, but maybe not. I don't know. I haven't checked at it yet. Um, Interestingly enough, yesterday the Hawks beat Boston with their backs against the wall, down 3-1 in the series. Game 5 in Boston. The Hawks win as 13-point underdogs. They forced game 6 coming home in Atlanta. Not only that, talk about another major upset, but the Heat have a 3-1 lead on the Bucks. Unbelievable. I just have a feeling the Bucks are going to win this series, though. I think they're going to come out smoking tonight, but yeah, Bucks on the brink. The Suns ended the series against the Clippers 4-1. The Nuggets ended their series against the Timberwolves 4-1. The Knicks are up 3-1 over the Cavs, which the Cavs were a favorite going into the series as well. The Lakers are up 3-1 over the Grizzlies, and the Lakers were another playing team. The Grizzlies were the 2 seed, and now the Grizzlies' backs are against the wall. It's a really weird year in the NBA right now, but I have a feeling a lot of these series may feature some sort of comeback. I don't think all these underdogs are going to win these series, just how the NBA is designed. But it's been a very fun playoffs for the NBA, for the NHL. I mean, it's very interesting, and I like a good underdog winning here and there. So there's a lot going on right now.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Do you? What do you think of what's going on with the Lakers?
I don't understand what's going on. They're not that good of a team. It's like, is this just going to be one of those things where like LeBron carries them to another championship? I wouldn't think so. Austin Reeves is great. He was their leading point scorer the other night. I mean, he's playing great. D'Angelo Russell. I mean, this whole team is just like, it's like they're coming together in the playoffs. I just, it's hard to believe that they're going to even win a series here, though. Is that what like you're getting at? Like, I just
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
understand. Like, you win this series. I don't know who they would play next series, but it just doesn't seem logical that like LeBron at this age and Anthony Davis could just like take this team to win a championship. It just they're. I mean, I watched a lot of Lakers game this year, and it's just to win a 7-game series. It's kind of stunning that they're up 3-1, honestly, right now. But it's LeBron in the playoffs. We don't. I mean, anything could happen.
yeah. We've seen it in the past. Going back to the Heat being up 3-1 on the Bucks, the Bulls had the Heat on the ropes in that second playing game. Would they be
I
up
know.
3-1 on the Bucks?
No. The Heat were significantly better than the Bulls this year. I really didn't give the Bulls a chance going into the Heat game,
You
let
didn't give
alone
them a
playing.
chance going into the Raptors game.
I know, because the Bulls just they've been stinky this year. So I just weren't high. The beating the Raptors, that was like a big wow. Good for you guys. That's great for the future. That's something you could put in your back pocket and use as experience maybe down the line. I mean, I think the Bulls should have been a little bit better this year. But Giannis has been injured a lot in this series with the Heat. I do think the Bucks are going to win this series in 7 games. It's the writings on the wall. It's just got that feel to it. I don't
Yeah,
think the Heat are that much better than the Bucks, and it's a lot different than other series in sports in the MLB or the NHL. Like NBA teams could easily win 3 games in a row.
yeah. If this were hockey, you would think the Bucks are cooked.
Yeah, I mean, you don't in sports like, and especially in hockey and baseball, you don't have teams that are like minus 600 on the money line. They're not 13-point favorite. You know what I mean? Like, it's different in basketball because like teams are just built differently. When you have significantly better players on your team, it works to your advantage a lot more than it does in other sports. Like, the Jets could win a game without Morrissey or Shifley, but can the Heat win a game without Tyler Hero or Jimmy Butler? Probably not as easily as like the Jets would be able to. So it's like it works differently in basketball, and that's when I think now that Giannis has been back and a little bit and is starting to get more healthy in this series, I think they are going to pull this series out, and we'll see though. But yeah, it's been crazy.
I know there are probably a bunch of people in Boston rooting for the Heat to pull this off.
Oh
I would
yeah.
assume.
I
I would.
think Boston will win the NBA championship if the Bucks don't make it to the next round.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. Frank, what are you watching this weekend?
Well, I finished The Last of Us. Finally watched the season finale. Stunning VP. Absolutely stunning finale. I cannot wait for season 2. This universe, this future of this series is just very bright. When you're watching it, it's just hard to believe that this all stemmed from a video game and how beautiful a video game can truly be. I mean, you got the older generation still thinking like video games like Pong and Space Invaders, and but no, people don't understand how like beautiful video game stories could actually be. And you watch The Last of Us, I think your whole perspective changes on video games just from a TV show. So we finished up that. I'm glad to have that in the back rear view mirror. We finished season 4 of Clone Wars. That arc was sensational. Um, I really am looking forward to season 5, the start of season 5. It seems like more stories are becoming more full now as the series go on, which is what I was hoping for. So I'm excited about that. And then I probably, if not today, maybe tomorrow, but I'd like to start it tonight. I'm going to start House of Dragons. So
Hell
I
yeah.
really like what I see. And then, the chalk stuff, NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, Survivor, the typical stuff. But I want to get House of Dragons started here.
Yeah, I'm very
So
excited for Survivor. That's getting really interesting at this point. I'll be watching that over the next couple days. We're really into the dozen. It's one of my favorite shows. It's on YouTube. Trivia
we watched it,
competition.
remember?
Really, yeah, really, really getting interesting now. The playoffs are right around the corner, so that'll be really, really cool. Of course, the NHL, the Devils tomorrow against the New York Rangers in game number 5. We'll be chilling, watching that. Hopefully the Bruins can close it out tonight. I've been watching Clone Wars too. It's been going on the computer lately, and I've just been running it in situations where
Like
I
what
have some
episode?
time.
Are you going through like,
I'm I like started. I'm watching from the beginning. I'm like halfway through
oh,
season 1.
really?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of the episodes. There'll be some. There'll probably be like
Yeah.
20. There'll probably be like 20, 25 episodes that I'll be watching a second time. But I will certainly you know, be okay with that because I want to run the entire series. Foster says old offends Aldo.
It's funny.
That is funny. But yeah, that obviously the NFL draft is going to take up a lot of my time as well with work and all that between the Jaguars and the Bears. We're looking forward to it. But I hope everybody enjoys what they're watching this weekend. There's a lot of good stuff out there. So, Frank, I think it's time. It's so weird going through the playoff motions takes less time than like the regular season stories and whatnot.
But
Because it's less about like
talk is more full, though. It's more important talk.
yes, 100%, 100%. I completely agree. It's a lot less about individual people
Yeah.
when it comes to the playoffs. We're not talking about McDavid's point totals or Connor Bedard's, crazy stuff. We're talking about the playoffs. It's all about a team. Nobody cares how many points Jack Hughes has. Nobody cares about how many points Connor McDavid has. We care about wins, and it's easier and it takes less time to discuss wins than it does like overall stories. So that's the difference between the regular season shows and the playoff shows. But I agree the playoff shows are more fun for me. But Frankie's going to try and win everybody a lot of money. Here comes the money. Foster says, Go Devils, in America's favorite podcast segment of the week Breaking Bets.
Where's my money, bitch?
Speak. Breaking Bets. Frankie.
So, Foster says in the chat, where is it? I know you said it, Foster. He says, I didn't bet your takes, Frank, so I don't know how that went. Bought my daughter a laptop instead. More important. Well, if you're following last week's pick, we went 3 for 4, which is great. We
You would have been able to pay for that laptop using Frankie's bets, Foster.
We went from 52% to 54%. Big boost right there. 3 out of 4, not too shabby. All right. I got 4 picks this week. I think I might give a fifth. We're going balls to the wall. We want variety. We want people. If you don't like this pick, well, maybe you like this pick, right? We're going to start off hot here since we got a lot of picks. I'm just going to start spewing. Heat at Bucks tonight. I think the Bucks come home on the brink of elimination. I expect a dominating performance by the Milwaukee Bucks. They're 12 the last time I saw them. I would take a 1.5 down and take a minus 10.5 at minus 132. I think this is going to be a big statement game for the Bucks. A blowout win here would really deflate the sails of the Miami Heat. Bucks minus 10.5 at minus 132. On top of that, I also would highly suggest, because I think there's tremendous value here, to bet the Bucks to win the series. You could do that. You could take the Bucks to win the series at only plus 115, which just shows you how much of a chance they're giving the Bucks to come back and win the series down 3-1 to the Heat. Take the Bucks to win the series. Plus 115. If you're hoping it's going to be a little bit more, it's not, because the Bucks are just that good. I think they win 3 in a row here. Bucks to win the series at plus 115. We will know the outcome of that bet by breaking bets next Wednesday. So get it in now, because if you wait till the end of the game tonight, it's going to go down. It'll be a minus then probably. So get that in as soon as possible. Get that in before game 5 starts. Next, VP, are the Sacramento Kings going to light the lamp or light the beam?
Yes.
I agree. We should take the Sacramento Kings money line plus 110 or whatever you have it at. It's plus right now. Take them to win the night. They come home. Warriors are struggling on the road. I mean, that's all I got to say, really. You just don't lose 3 in a row. It's different, though. I could see them losing 3 in a row, but coming home as the plus favorite, take the Sacramento Kings. Why not? Get a little bit of juice there. On to the next one. We got a lot of picks here, so going through them quick. Mariners at Phillies. Logan Gilbert versus Walker. Gilbert has been playing great. Mariners have been playing great. Walker struggles with walking too many guys, no pun intended. I just think this is tremendous value for the Mariners and Gilbert. You can get the Mariners money line at minus 115. I love that, the way they've been playing. That's very good value, especially on the road. You're not going to get better than that with Gilbert on the mound. Take the Mariners minus 115 on the money line. I like the spot for them. I don't like the way the Phillies have been playing this year so far. So gonna go with the pitcher and the hotter team at the moment. Mariners money line minus 115. And then my final pick is a parlay for you guys. I think the Bruins close it out tonight. Can't take the Bruins just straight up, though. Not enough juice right there. But there is something you could add to it for a little more juice, and that involves the Colorado game. Not Colorado, but I think Matty Beniers is going to get at least a point tonight. So parlay the Bruins money line with Beniers getting a point. Without McCann in the lineup, I believe Beniers will step up in his absence. Beniers has been a bright side for this team all year. I think he's very capable of getting an assist. And with McCann out, I think it'll just be easier to do so. So all he's got to do is get a point, whether it's a goal, assist, whatnot. As long as he gets a point, you win. I like the value there. You parlay the Bruins money line and Beniers to get a point, and it pays out plus 163. So I really like that. And those are my 5 picks for you. It's the most picks I've ever done on a show, but I felt like there was a lot of good value this week. So we'll see.
Absolutely. What a time.
Also, I'm not adding this to breaking bets because this is just one of the reasons why this system's flawed. Just keeping track of record and not keeping track of, your units or your profit you've made. I think there's value in taking Will Levi to go number 1 as the first overall pick. Plus 700. So
wow.
I would if it was me. But see, if it's wrong, then I get a loss for the NFL. But it's plus 700. But if it wins, it's flawed. We got a flawed system here. But I'm not adding that into breaking bets.
Yeah, but then you'd be 1-4 in the NFL instead of 1-3.
Yeah, but it's like that 1-4 is plus 700. And if it wins, then I'll be 2-3. But that plus 700 is like outweighs probably all the losses of the NFL. So it's just we got a flawed system right now. But we live and we learn.
Are you going to bet it as non-part of this?
Correct.
You are?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Well, now I'm rooting for it. Now I'm rooting for it. I'm especially rooting for it because I don't think it's a good idea. And I want the Panthers to be terrible so that the Bears can have another number one pick. Because if they have another number one pick and we think Justin Fields isn't the guy, we could take what's his name next year. And, it's a great quarterback class next year in general, regardless. So we will see what happens. But I always
I
look
mean, you
forward to
can't
the.
take Bryce Young. He's minus 1250.
Yeah, no. No, not at all.
So I mean, you'd have to bet $1,250 to win $100, and you
Yeah.
can't take Bryce Young.
I think it's going to be Bryce Young.
So do
I do.
I probably, but Will Levi, there's talks here. The whispers. There's whispers. VP.
Yeah, Frankie likes a good whisper. There's no doubt he likes a good whisper. Well, Frank, that was an outstanding show going over the Eastern Conference postseason, the Western Conference postseason of the NHL. Get a little bit into baseball, a little bit into basketball, a little bit into the NFL draft. Frankie made some bets for you. Hopefully, everybody listens to him and makes lots of money. Or if you fade him, make lots of money, and Frankie loses lots of money. All my stuff, Black and Teal, the Windy City, Puck Pros, Pucks and Pitchforks, Southside Showdown. Some of it's for good teams, some of it's for bad teams. Very excited to get down and diggity with all the sports this weekend, though. It's going to be super fun. Foster, thank you very much for joining. You're awesome as well. And then you can, of course, read Frankie's stuff at apptrigger.com, all things video games. It's going to be a summer of gaming, so it should be really, really cool. Frank, do you have anything left to say before we say goodbye to the people?
This time next week, we will know a lot about different series. We will know what happened in the Devils series. We will know what happened in the Lightning series. We will know what happened in the Bucks series. So there's going to be plenty to talk about next week. So stay tuned for that.
Will there be at least one Game 7?
Yes.
I agree. There will. It's not a guarantee every year.
What are you saying, for hockey or basketball?
For hockey.
Oh. Yes.
I think so. It's not a guarantee every year. There's always only like one or two. But I'm with you. Yes. The answer is yes. And Game 7s become must watch. They're like, oh my God. And then if they are lucky enough to go to overtime, the Stanley Cup final has never gone to Game 7 overtime. 103 years or whatever this league is. Never has the Stanley Cup award been awarded to a team that won Game 7 in overtime. Next goal wins the cup. That has never happened. Is this the year?
I don't know.
I always convince myself that it's the year because it will happen. It will happen. I always convince myself. I thought for sure it was the year when the Bruins played the Blues. That's the last Stanley Cup final Game 7 we had.
Mhm.
And oh man, that would be awesome. But I hope everybody enjoyed today's show. Thank you for listening. As always, make sure you're listening to all of the draft coverage here on the Barroom Network. And I'll be back with you at 2 p.m. tomorrow to discuss baseball and the NFL draft on Crosstown Crosstalk. Make sure you go back and listen to South Burbs Hitman from Monday, where we absolutely destroy the Chicago White Sox and talk about pizza. I hope everybody enjoyed. As always, thank you for listening.